I got a message for all the Australians out there. You ready? Vegemite is fucking racist! Yeah, I said it. Your favorite fucking spread is racist as fuck. It's literally keeping Aboriginals down and making them feel like they're worthless. If you eat Vegemite, you're literally what's wrong with the world. You should really be ashamed of yourselves as Australians. Ever since the 1950s or whatever, Vegemite has been a way to symbolically make white Australians feel superior to Aboriginals by literally eating their skin in a fucking jar. Vegemite is black because Aboriginals are black. And it's a way for the racists that run your country and the people who make Vegemite to keep Aboriginals down as long as possible. From birth, white Australians are taught that it's okay to insult and disrespect Aboriginals by spreading this nasty shit all over your toast. It's gotta stop, guys. Seriously. And the thing is, I lived in Australia since the time I was 9 until I was 16. And even though I'm not Australian, I'm ashamed of all of you. Seriously. I lived there. I breathed the racist culture. I saw how y'all think Aboriginals are less than people, and how you eat Vegemite all day to feel superior to them. All Australia is racist, beer, pingas, and Vegemite. And it all boils down to hating Aboriginals. You need to be ashamed, mates. I'm starting a campaign called #BanVegemite that I'm hoping will reach your KKK Grand Wizard, Tony Abbott, and make him realize just how racist Vegemite really is. I know Australians are feeling really guilty about eating it. I want everybody, not only Australians, to tweet under the #BanVegemite. To speak their mind about this very important racial issue that is affecting millions of Australians every day. Together, we can get Vegemite banned and give the Aboriginals the justice that they deserve. I'm Cassidy Boone, and you should subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and like me on Facebook. Links are in the description. Peace.
What the fuck? Okay, love, let's get things straight. Lads and lasses, I'm replying to this video as the Aussie on this channel and your spokesperson for the Australian culture. Now, Cassidy, I'm not sure whether you're an incredibly talented satire artist or you're just effed in the head, but we're going to analyze it right now. Now, eating Vegemite because it's black means we hate Aboriginals. Must also mean that because we eat peanut butter, we hate Asians. Because we eat mayonnaise, we hate ourselves. And because we eat Nutella, we hate dark people. Hey, we even eat guacamole, which means we must hate aliens too. So what I'm trying to get at is that Australians aren't what's wrong with the world. We're not racist. The people who are wrong with the world are people like you perpetuating the issue of color. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, yellow, red, green, orange, purple. It really doesn't matter. You're still an Australian if you're born here or if you get a citizenship here. And we don't care about what color your skin is, so long as you're not a fuckwit. So you also say that from birth we're taught to hate Aboriginals because we're Australians and that's what white supremacists like Australians do. Well, I got something to tell you. You weren't born here, so how would you know? And also, you said you moved here at 9 and left at 16. I wonder why. Probably because you got kicked out for being such a retard. And quite frankly, if you've lived here for 7 years and you weren't born here, you're not really qualified to speak on the Australian culture because, quite frankly, you don't understand it. You also go to say that we eat Vegemite all day. Now, I've got another piece of information for you. We don't. I probably have Vegemite at breakfast, sometimes for lunch. That's about it. I don't have it for tea, even though carrots dipped in Vegemite is quite a good dessert. But I guess I can't do that because that's being racist to orange people and black people at the same time, which means I'm like an uber racist. But also on superiority, the only thing Australians are superior in to anyone else around the world, inclusive, is not skin color, it's our sense of humor. Now, our sense of humor is what enables us to laugh at this video because it's so bloody stupid. But our superiority and sense of humor is also misunderstood for racism because, quite frankly, you just can't understand our jokes because sometimes they're too upfront and too forward and too in people's face for people to understand. But the fact is, they're jokes nonetheless. Like your satire, I think, in your video. And as for white Australians hating Aboriginals, I've got another piece of information for you. We don't hate Abos, they're practically our brothers. In fact, they were here first, so we ought to give them more respect than we do to people who think they can comment on our culture. Jesus H. Christo. Quite simply, we just don't hate Aboriginals, we hate stupidity. And as for Tony Abbott, I actually looked up your video on YouTube so I could go and, analyze it and stuff, or whatever people do when they make response videos. But anyway, aside from that, I looked up your video and I noticed you didn't mention anything down below about Tony Abbott no longer being our Prime Minister, which simply means you probably don't care. Now, if you don't care about a campaign that you set up yourself to ban Vegemite because it's black and it's apparently offensive to black people, which I've never heard a word of complaint from an Aboriginal or black person altogether about Vegemite being racist simply because it's black. But clearly you don't care because you haven't written it down below that Tony Abbott's no longer the Prime Minister. Malcolm Turnbull is, because we have a really bad government in Australia and they constantly stab each other in the back like some Julius Caesar shit. And Tony Abbott's no longer our Prime Minister. So clearly you don't care about where this campaign goes to, or else you would have put an update down below like most responsible, normal people, 20-year-olds do, because apparently you're born 1 year before me, but somehow I'm able to be smarter than you, even though I'm Australian and I'm pig-headed and Neanderthal-like because I believe I'm superior because of my skin color. In fact, I actually envy black people sometimes because I have to put on sunscreen when I go into the sun and they don't, and that makes me sad because I hate sunscreen. But I just wanted to make a quick reply at the end of the video simply because your video is just stupid. If it's satire, we can't clearly see it's satire because that's a really weird form of satire. Now, your audience is probably a bunch of people who think they're entitled to something simply because of who they are, which in Australia, we don't really like that kind of stuff. So I'm glad you moved out because you probably wouldn't have fit in here anyway. The Australian culture is quite complex and quite difficult to understand, especially for an outsider such as yourself. So please, when it comes to commenting on our culture, leave it to the experts, the Australians, and people like you who aren't experts in Australian culture should just zip it and shush when it comes to commenting on Australian culture. I'm Herm, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day and a great life. Beep!